Welcome everyone to Feng Shui and Prosper. My name is Safrina Kadri. I'm the founder and principal consultant, as well as a teacher trainer of all things Feng Shui. And today we are doing another Tuesday live stream, and I don't have any specific content ready for you guys. What is going to be covered today is up to you. So today is Q&A day. If you haven't sent me any questions, general questions regarding Feng Shui, feel free to just comment under the video and we can cover that. Erlinda asked, some of my salt cures seem to have stopped working. I made new ones and put next to the old. Should I remove the old or keep them both? It's really up to you. The onus is now on the new one to do the work for you. So if the old one is not working, then you might as well just chuck it, right? Maybe it was moved, maybe there wasn't enough, salt or whatever it is. So once you put in the new one, maybe you could just safely get rid of the old one. That's not a problem. Pamela is asking what to do if your bed is facing the Grand Duke, northwest, or is this okay? Now, having been a Feng Shui consultant for so long, I know bed positioning is very tricky, especially if you don't have a huge space, right? And structurally, there's really only one wall that you can put your bed against. Now, obviously, if you can sit or sleep without facing northwest. And what I mean by, so you're sleeping on the bed and you wake up and you have the compass in your hand, you get up from your bed, you're still your legs are still on the bed, okay? You're still on the bed, you get up and if you have a compass on your hand and you're looking northwest, it's preferable that you don't do that, okay? However, those of you who follow me for any amount of time, you know that I say, if you've got bad Feng Shui, then you overcompensate with something else, okay? If you cannot fix a Feng Shui, you compensate it with something else so it doesn't affect you as much. So what do I mean by this? So if you have to sit or sleep facing Grand Duke, which is Northwest 3 this year, then you do inner Feng Shui, you do your meditation, you do your energy healing. You make sure that whatever decisions that you make that year, you do your homework so that you're not you don't get the short end of the stick, so to speak, right? And I'll tell you guys one thing. Was it last year? I forgot what year it was. We were sleeping, my husband and I, we were sleeping actually facing the Grand Duke. And I couldn't, as much as now my husband is less skeptical, there are still certain things that he will not go for. One of them being, one of them being moving the bed. So I kept the bed that way. I kept the permanent salt cures beside the bed. Oh, that's one thing you can do. Permanent salt cures on both sides of the bed. However, on his behalf, I did ritual, like candle rituals. Some of you heard me talk about candle rituals before. That's something that you can do for someone else, right? Because if I ask my husband to meditate or visualize or whatever, he will, but it's not going to be a big priority for him. And in terms of inner Feng Shui work, in terms of the spiritual tools, you need to do it consistently to get the results. So I knew with us facing Grand Duke and the fact that he's not going to consistently be meditating or doing visualizations or doing any other spiritual tools, I have to do it on his behalf, right? So I did the candle rituals, I did whatever visualizations that I can do for him, being me as the spouse. And guess what? That year, he had a great year. Actually, not even that. It was, it was just last year. What was I thinking? It was the year of the dog. Year of the dog. So not only were we facing Grand Duke, but he was hit with Grand Duke. Okay? So it wasn't great. it wasn't a great positioning Feng Shui wise, but mostly me, I compensated with the other stuff. Okay, and those of you guys who in manifesting code, remember, bad Feng Shui is just 1/3 of it, right? There's the other 2/3 that you can do. Okay, Anna is asking, could you please explain if bathrooms next to the front door of the house is good or bad Feng Shui? Not in front of the front door, but on the right or left as soon as you enter the house? Absolutely no issue. Structurally, no issue. Okay? However, if your money corner just happens to be in the bathroom beside the front door, then it's not something that you can activate. But structurally, as long as you open the door and you don't see into the bathroom, especially you don't see into the bathroom and you can see the toilet bowl, everything else is fine. How do you determine main door when house has front door and garage door? If front door is rarely used, is it still to be considered main door? If you have a choice, should you use the door with the best facing? Okay, there's actually 2 questions here. Okay. So the main door of the house is still considered aesthetically, okay, visually, it's still considered the main door of the house. However, let's say if your main door does not have auspicious energy, but your garage does, then use the garage door. The garage won't be considered the main door aesthetically, but it is considered the main door usage-wise. Okay? So in terms of the compass reading, I still wouldn't do the compass reading at the garage. I'd still do it at the front door because, well, I'll do both. Most of the time they're facing the same way anyway. But between the two, if they're giving 2 different compass readings, I would take the one from the front door and do my calculations based on that one. And from there, you will get the energies for both the front door and the energies for the garage entrance into the house. And you can determine at that point which is the better entrance for the family to use. Okay. So in terms of, so that's the second question. If you have a choice, should you use the door with the best facing number? Yes, absolutely. When I design homes for my clients, I try to put a side door or even a back door if there are auspicious energies there. So that, let's say, for a specific month or specific year, if the front door is afflicted, then they can use the side door or they can use the back door if it's possible, right? Some of my clients are actually open to using the back doors, bless their heart. So that's just a peek into how Feng Shui design happens. Okay. Best direction for swimming pool. And I see Oyuki replying to that. Thanks, Oyuki. So swimming pool, it depends on a few things, okay? Look at your permanent energy. And for those of you who have been following Fast Food Feng Shui, do not put a swimming pool in the southeast. To be honest with you, I do not like swimming pools. Swimming pools make life very hard for a Feng Shui consultant. And it makes life very hard for a lot of my clients, especially if the swimming pool is put in a really bad spot. In the past, decade that I've been doing this, there's been quite a few times that I've asked my clients to just stop using the swimming pool because wrong placement can trigger bad health, bad relationship, bad finances, just all around no bueno. So what really determines the permanent, the placement of the swimming pool is to look at the permanent energy. And there is I guess it's a formula called the direct and indirect spirits, saying that in certain periods, in every period, from period 1 to period 9, there are directions where you cannot see water. So in those directions, and we go over this in the certification course, because I'm not going to just go through it here because there are pre-formula information that you need. So it's not going to be a class here. But for period 8, for instance, there are 4 directions that you can see water and 4 directions that you can't see water. But that's just the first layer. The second layer, you have to look at the permanent energy of the home. And only if it ticks both layers, only then you can put a swimming pool there. So I know it's not the question that you answer that you were hoping for, but that's the thing about classical feng shui. It is powerful, but isn't as simple as 1, 2, 3. Really, there's quite a few other calculations that need to be taken into consideration before you even decide on what to put. Good one. So George is asking, most homes in Northern California, especially around where I live, the kitchen is in the heart of the house, my brother's home and my house. What can you do to remediate if you don't have money for a remodel? Tons of inner feng shui. And I'm not joking. Tons and tons of inner feng shui. What I take the manifesting code guys through is doing visualization, to protect your home, to protect the center of the house, asking for doing angelic rituals, asking for angelic guidance, doing candle rituals, doing clearing rituals, doing whatever rituals that you are open to doing. I would do that, because if you don't remodel the kitchen in the center, sure, you can put salt cures, but the salt cure in the center of the home, especially for most people, the kitchen is high usage, highly, highly used. So, the salt cure, even if you put 2 or 3, it can only take away so much. It won't take care of it 100%. And I've seen so many clients, actually, it's not so big of a thing here in Toronto, so sorry for North California. But here in Toronto, I have seen a few, and my clients who are not open to renovating and they only put the salt cure, I can tell you that the results are still not good, because that is such a big structural issue. It's a huge structural issue. And I mentioned this before, here in downtown Toronto, there's like a multi-million-dollar condo, and I've looked at the layouts, just out of curiosity, and then a lot of them actually have that kitchen in the center. And I'm like, can't pay me enough money to live in a house with a central kitchen. So there's a little remedy, even a salt cure, cannot fix a big structural issue like that. And it is a big structural issue. Okay, sorry, George. So permanent salt cure, and then lots of inner feng shui, lots of spiritual tools to help you remedy that as much as possible. Tracy's asking, if a building has 4 entrances and all are being used, which entrance shall I consider to calculate when I best face when at work? Oh, okay. So, sorry, I was just trying to figure out the question. So, in terms of the facing of the building, some buildings, especially some modern buildings, definitely are very confusing, right? Like a condo building, right? There's 4 entrances, for instance. Maybe there's a back entrance, a front entrance, a side entrance, and a docking bay, right? Something like that. How you determine facing, for those of you who follow me in my annual webinar, facing is not only determined by the door. You also determine facing by the external feng shui, right? What is the most yang? What has the biggest traffic? What is the brightest? What is the loudest? What has, maybe even a bright hall, right? Things like that. What is the address street? The address street for me is a big determinant, still not 100%, but it's a big determinant to determine out of the 4 entrances, which is the main one. So a facing is not just, the facing of the house or a building is not based on not purely based, I should say, on what is the door that's being used. The facing is determined by other factors as well. So you look at your building, the one that has the 4 entrances, where is the address street, right? And maybe of all the 4 entrances, maybe one is a little bit bigger. Maybe it has a bigger reception area, and thus people go in and out a little bit more, right? So you look at all the 4 entrances and see, kind of weigh all of them, compare all of them, and see which one has, the most yang energy, and use that as the calculation for the permanent energies of of the building. Okay. Sylvina is asking very nicely, which room is best for my daily meditation practice and which direction is it best to sit for manifesting? Now, if you're doing your meditation and you're doing your manifesting practices, honestly, sitting anywhere, facing anywhere is already great. The fact that you're meditating and doing manifestation techniques, you're already way ahead of other people. If you want to, it depends. Do you want to follow Flying Star, or some of us, we follow Chimandunja as well. So in this purpose, let's talk about Flying Star, right? If you want to follow the Flying Star, either of your permanent energy, your annual energy, or your monthly energy, at the very least, do not sit facing the Grand Duke. Do not sit facing the number 5. I wouldn't sit facing number 7 either. Okay? So for instance, this year, if you want to meditate, then the number 5 is in the southwest, so you're not going to sit facing the southwest. The Grand Duke is in Northwest 3. You're not going to sit meditating facing Northwest 3. Okay? You can, but based on this question, I'm giving the answer. And then, what was it? Number 7 is in the southeast, so preferably not to sit facing southeast as well. Which room to use? Again, same thing. You can base it on your permanent energy, the annual energy, or even the monthly energy. My clients who do meditate, I look at their permanent energy. I say, okay, permanently, these are the best rooms for you to do your meditation. But then there's the annual energy as well. So if I say, hey, client, south is your best meditation room, use the south as your meditation room. But next year, the Grand Duke and actually the 3 killing hits the south next year. So when I do my annual update with my clients, or even when I do Manifesting Code, or when I do the annual webinars, I will tell people, okay, then preferably not to do your manifesting activities there as well, because it's going to reduce the efficiency of it, right? So that's one way. And again, we're not talking about permanent energy here, but at the very least, Sylvina, you know the annual energies now, right? Southwest has the number 5. You don't sit facing there, or even sit there, okay? Northwest 3 has the Grand Duke. You don't sit there, you don't meditate facing Northwest 3. Southeast has the number 7. You don't sit there, you don't face southeast, okay? At the very least, you know that. 3 killings in the west, you can face 3 killings. You preferably not to sit in the 3 killings. So there's a few directions for you to play with. Anna is asking, I'm renting a small apartment in New York, and from one of the bedrooms, we can see completely the main and only door. Is it bad feng shui? If so, what remedy can be done? It's not a big issue, but it's not so great if from the main door, you look into the bedroom, so the door is open into the bedroom and you can see the bed, okay? It's already bad enough that if you're at the bedroom door and the bed is directly across from it, it's already an energetic issue. It's double whammy if this is the front door, this is the bedroom door, and then if you open both doors and you see straight to the bed, only then that's an issue, where I'm concerned anyway. How do you remedy it? Move your bed so that it's not within line of sight from both doors. Okay. Sheila is asking, my house is facing the road, but the main door opens to the side. How can I calculate facing, please? You're facing, again, Sheila, you're in Manifesting Code, and you are in Feng Shui 2019 as well. If you want to really make sure, you can post that in our private Facebook group. But for this live stream purpose, 80% of the time, the facing, if it's off to the side, then the facing should be the front of the house. If, for instance, if the street address is at the front of the house as well. right? That is, I would say, 80% of the time. But Sheila, if you want to double check, then post it in a private Facebook group. Feel free to use that. You're a member. Patricia is asking, if a house has a very large rockery, which is across the whole of the back of the house, how can you remedy it? So the rockery is an issue if the back of your house has especially mountain star number 5 or mountain star number 7. Because the rockery, which is earth element, is going to increase the number 5 and the number 7, right? How do you remedy it? Then hopefully between the house and the rockery area, I don't know if there's like any space in between, then you put metal where the number 5 is concerned, or where the number 7 is concerned. To remedy that, then you put water, non-moving water, okay, stagnant water. Sanjaya is asking, what can you recommend if there is a need to renovate where a negative star resides? Then you remedy it. It's not great. You can remedy with the permanent salt cure. You can remedy with metal. It doesn't even have to be a wind chime. It can be any metal, right? But with that said, I would compensate with spiritual tools as well, right? Again, asking for angelic assistance so that not too much negative energies is being triggered. You know, doing your visualization on the house. Date selection is actually really important. That's one way to do it, because you, just like how every year there are directions that you shouldn't renovate, every month and every day there are directions that you shouldn't renovate as well. So if you have access to a properly trained date selection practitioner, then do that. And then you start your renovation on a good day. Okay? But still do the remedies and do the inner feng shui. I'm not saying just do the date selection. You still want to remedy as best as possible. Another one. We actually talked about this yesterday. Can you please clarify? You mentioned that colors are not to be used as feng shui. However, in some of the remedies from 2019 workbook, it's recommended to use red mat pillows in the south. I think you misunderstood me. So many of you from the fast food feng shui school, you have been brainwashed. You have been told that because the south is the direction for fire, then you need to paint your south room red or yellow or orange. Or because the north is the direction for water, then universally everyone needs to paint their north room black or blue. Or you've been told that the east and the southeast is wood element, so universally everyone in this world needs to paint their east and southeast room wood, green color. Pamela, that was what I was trying to tell you, that you cannot follow that. You do not follow it, something so simplistic as that. Feng Shui is not universal. In terms of what I was saying just now when I did the Photoshop, but it was, the audio wasn't great. The colors that I suggested in 2019 is based on the flying star. And every flying star, numbers 1 till number 9, has an element. So when I say put red in the south, because what is in the south this year? Number 3. What is the element for number 3? It is wood. And what does number 3 do? Number 3 increases conflicts, arguments, and in extreme cases, legal action. So we want to remedy number 3. And how do you remedy number 3? It's with fire, because number 3 is wood. Okay? But I'm not basing it on that general universal law that the south is fire, therefore you need to put fire. No. I'm basing it on the flying star that is visiting the south this year, which is a wood element, therefore needs to be remedied with a fire element. Okay? Any book, any consultant that uses all these universal generalized principles that, or tells you to put things that are not specific to your facing, not specific to your period, you need to walk away, because that's not the way to do it. Okay? Oh, Ana Lucia, buying a house in the side of a cul-de-sac is bad feng shui? Yes. And in my experience, cul-de-sacs are just like the kitchen in the center. You cannot really remedy a cul-de-sac. And most of the time, especially, so there's the street, and then there's the cul-de-sac. It's the houses that are in that circular part that gets it the worst. The ones that are still in that, like a proper street, those homes are not affected as much. Okay? So it's really the ones in the circular part. So if you're still house hunting, I would suggest just walk away from the homes that are in the circular parts. Okay. So it is bad feng shui. And because it's external feature, which you cannot change. How can you change a cul-de-sac? Only the city can do that, right? If it's an internal structural issue, sure, you can put some money in to renovate it. But because it's an external structural feng shui issue, there's not much you can do. Amina is saying, oops. My bedroom is northeast. I got sick and had pain in February for a month. And I changed my bed. My pain got better. That's good. Nice to hear. But I'm still sick and have some pain, and doctors misdiagnosed me already 5 times. I don't know what to do. Oh, I know. It's really frustrating when that happens. You change my bed. You change your bed, but you're still in the northeast room. The northeast room having the number 2 is the illness star this year. Then the permanent salt cures by your bed at the very least. And in terms of misdiagnosing, Amina, you are a manifesting coach, so there are tons of tools in there. So for instance, visualizing, right? Doing your visualization, or doing a candle ritual or a moon ritual, asking for the pain to be taken away, or at least or magnetize a doctor that knows what the heck is going on with you, right? So you do the feng shui bit, you put the permanent salt cure, and then go into manifesting code and look for the other tools that you can do to further complement the work of the salt cure. Okay, keep us updated on that one in the group. I'd like to know. Exactly. Okay, my mouse is low on battery, so I'm going to end this here, you guys. Thank you so much. There were amazing questions. I think you're right. Maybe once in a I do have a pretty good topic coming up for the next live stream, but the one after that we could do another Q&A. So I might just do it not in tandem, but like, what's the word? I'll alternate that. Okay. So the ones where the video, where the sound quality was bad, I'm going to try to see if I can find time to reshoot that, because Joyce's question, that was a really good one. The one on the Himalayan lamp is a really good one as well. So it was unfortunate that the software wasn't playing nice, but I'll reshoot that and I'll post it up on Facebook and YouTube. All right, everyone, have a really amazing day and take care. Hello, this is Safrina Kadri from Feng Shui and Prosper, and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you like what you've seen, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I do try to put out a brand new video every week. So if you subscribe, then you can make sure that you don't miss out on any of the other content that will be coming out your way.